Charlie Kirk discusses young voters supporting President Trump with Maria Bartiromo. He said, we are seeing the base of the Democrat Party evaporate. And that's exactly what's happening. That is why the Democrats are appealing to the loony people in the party, the leftists in the party, because they are losing their base. They have to build that base back up, and they're using the crazies of the crazies, the people with the most radical ideas, to build that base. And this is why they can't go with what the average person wants right now. They have to appeal to these crazy far leftists in their party. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to play the clip. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account. So follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Gateway Pundit. And they report that TPUSA founder Charlie Kirk was on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo to discuss President Trump's popularity among young voters. Kirk explained that the Democrat Party is losing their base as young voters are moving more to the right. And I've showed the studies. I went over the studies before that showed that youngsters are going to the right now. We see the pendulum shift and things like that happen before. So this is not the first time something like this has happened. But let's play the clip here. Here we go.
Joining me now with more on why young voters stand with President Trump is Turning Point USA founder and president Charlie Kirk. Charlie, great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Your reaction, and tell us, do you think young people are with Trump because they were the most hurt by teachers during COVID, against them? Tell us why you believe young people are standing with President Trump.
Well, that's absolutely true. And listening to that clip of former Vice President Kamala Harris, I can say we're finally unburdened by what has been. It feels good that we have new leadership in this country. But when I look at President Trump's phenomenal commencement address at the University of Alabama, I feel that it's necessary to contrast that with a completely different one that Joe Biden gave at Morehouse University when he was president. When President Trump gave the speech, it was about optimism and positivity, and you could do anything when you put your mind to it. When Joe Biden gave a commencement address, it was all about systemic racism and police brutality and how America has a terrible past. It was about oppression, and it was a very heavy and sad and negative speech. And you contrast those two together, and this is one of the main reasons why we are seeing the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock, where younger people are not going to the left like they did in the summer of 1969. No, they're defying all the experts, and they're going to the right. We are seeing the base of the Democrat Party evaporate. Democrats are bleeding the core constituency. Young people for so long have been the cornerstone of the American left. They've always been able to count on college campuses as their main source of energy for activism. Now, it's the main source of energy for the Republican Party and for President Trump, from the Yale Youth Poll, from the Harvard Youth Poll. And to your astute point, Maria, you're exactly right. 18 to 22-year-olds, these are the lockdown generation. They had prom, graduation stolen from them. They had to wear masks unnecessarily. They were forced to get vaccines. They had many friends hurt themselves or kill themselves because of the lockdowns. They do not trust the experts. They get their information.
I mean, the lockdown ruined a lot of children, and these are the kids. They're now voting, and they don't want anything to do with the Democrat Party because of the crazy policies that they've been pushing.
Information from places like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and they are now the most solid and loyal base of President Trump's ever-growing coalition.
And I'm glad he mentioned TikTok, YouTube, and stuff like that, and Twitter. Because that goes back to a video that I done a few days ago, where you had pundits upset that people weren't getting their news from them. They were upset that people no longer trust and believe in the mainstream media, like they were the purveyors of truth, and like they haven't been on the wrong side of every issue over the past 4 years when it comes to Biden and stuff like that, and they wonder why the youth no longer listen to them or watch them, because they've been lying to us over the years. So of course they're going to go to places like YouTube. They're going to go to alternative media sources. They're going to go to Twitter. They're going to go to TikTok to get their political news, because the mainstream media has lost all trust.
Because they believe President Trump. They know he's telling the truth, and he's not afraid to call it out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. And they're tired of politicians that are so negative on America. They want a positive vision. Think about the negativity that they were formed in. What happens?
And look at all the negativity. I was just watching a video when Megyn Kelly was talking about this, how about what's her name? Michelle Obama, how she just talks about everything in her podcast when she's on other people's podcasts. It's just so negative, how America is terrible, everyone's bad, woe is her, having to live in the White House and all of that stuff. And she's not coming from privilege and stuff like that. People are tired of that. It's fake, it's a facade. We don't believe you. This is why people have turned off from the left, because of things like that. Like Michelle Obama don't live a great life. She complaining about living in the White House. Are you serious? And that's the left in a nutshell. All they do is complain. There's no optimism. There's no answers. It's all about identity politics and wokeism, and people are turned off by that.
Between the ages of 14 and 21 are the most predictive elements of how you view the world. They heard that the world was ending because of COVID, the world is ending because of systemic racism, or the world is ending because of climate change. Honestly, they're rejecting it. They want a positive future, and President Trump is delivering it.
Facts. We want positivity. We want optimism. We want the truth, and we're tired of lies, and we're tired of this stuff that they're pushing. Kirk also discussed AOC and her extreme views on the environment and her desire to expand the size of the federal government. This is what we're fighting against now. The government, these AOC who talks about how bad government is and all of this other things, but yet she wants to grow government. Like, it makes no sense. If government is so bad, why do you want to grow it? Let's play this clip here. This will be the last one. Here we go.
Charlie, it looks like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to run for president with all these this campaigning she's been doing. Your thoughts?
Well, I think America is now fatigued by the catastrophizing of American politics. Mm-hmm. Everything that AOC believes is that we need urgent, multi-trillion-dollar government action because we're going to be overwhelmed because the oceans are going to take down Miami Beach. So we need to spend $100 trillion on the Green New Deal.
Yeah, but and we need to not fly on planes and stuff any longer. But yet she's jet setting around the world on a private jet, but she's worried about the climate. I mean, they're hypocrites.
Deal. We need to spend $50 trillion because of systemic racism. And that connects to my earlier points, which is the Democrat Party is constantly talking about an imminent apocalypse. And the American people are just done with that. Think about it. We went through COVID. We don't want to live that way. And so AOC is actually framing herself, of course, on the radical left. But if you go a layer deeper, it goes towards something that the American people are rejecting, which is we just want normalcy back in our lives. We want a secure border. We want to be able to make stuff in our country. Yet AOC, the vision that she's going to try to put forward, or Bernie, or whomever fills this caricature, is one where they say there is imminent decline and collapse unless we triple the size of the federal government.
Meanwhile, I haven't heard one peep out of any of these Democrats about the anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Of course not.
Exactly. Oh, it's terrible. Now,
and y'all know I am no fan of Israel. By far. I am no fan of Israel. But what's happening on the college campuses as far as interrupting school and stuff like that when it comes to the so-called protests is just wrong. They do have a right to protest, but is a way in which you do it.
Not one peep, because they actually side with the Hamas wing on these college campuses. That is part of their coalition. You see, they have made some very, very dark deals over the last decade. They made a dark deal with the radical trans elements of their party. They made a dark deal with the open border lobby. And they also made a deal with this ever-growing, disturbing anti-American, anti-Semitic, anti-Western force that we've seen embedded on college campuses, which is this emergent pro-Hamas coalition. A lot of their base is sympathetic with their complaints, and they cannot shed it. So, in fact, they have to now go into the 2026 midterms and go into the 2028 midterms married to those three very unpopular anti-American forces in our country.
Yeah, and you see it. And you see that there was a video that came out where it showed AOC being heckled by her own constituents when it comes to the whole Palestine thing. So, you know, it's crazy what's going on these campuses. So again, they have every right to protest and stuff like that, but it's how you do it. You can't go in and stop other people from doing what they need to do and stuff as well. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.